This film is about a young guy named Aizawa Kakeru. Kakeru is the manager of his school soccer team and is also the younger brother of the team's captain, Aizawa Suguru. Suguru is a super talented player who even plays for the under-15 national team. In their last game, Suguru did an amazing job as a midfielder and scored a crucial goal for Japan. Kakeru looks up to his big brother a lot and thinks of him as a hero. Because of this, Kakeru has decided to stay as the team manager and not play soccer himself, even though he loves the game. He still practices dribbling the ball whenever he has free time. One day, while he's busy managing the team, Kakeru's childhood friend, Mishima, comes to visit. Her visit reminds Kakeru of the good old days when he, Mishima, and Suguru used to play soccer together and have fun. But things aren't so great between Kakeru and Suguru right now. They often argue, especially because Suguru keeps trying to get Kakeru to come back to playing soccer. Their biggest argument happened one night when Suguru lost his temper over a football debate. After their big argument, Kakeru went back to practicing dribbling the ball alone to calm down. While he was practicing, a mysterious guy showed up and offered to help him with his soccer training. The next morning, there was a big match to pick the main players for the Kamakura team. At that time, Suguru added Kakeru's name to the list, showing he still wanted Kakeru to come back to soccer. After some more arguing, Kakeru agreed to give it a try. During the match, Kakeru played well, but he didn't manage to score any goals as a striker. However, he and Suguru worked well together and broke through the other team's defense. Even though Kakeru did okay, he didn't meet Suguru's high expectations. Then, Suguru told Mishima that Kakeru's weakness was his hesitation to use his left foot for kicking, and said that a striker should be able to score goals. Feeling the pressure from his brother's comments, Kakeru started thinking about his weaknesses. He realized that his doubts came from a past experience that upset him while playing. He shared this with the mysterious person who had been helping him train. The next day, things took a very sad turn for Kakeru and Suguru. While Suguru was excited about the chance to play soccer with Kakeru, a terrible accident happened and Suguru lost his life. This left everyone, including Kakeru, heartbroken. Kakeru was deeply sad after Suguru's death. He found out that Suguru had donated his heart to Kakeru so he could stay alive, which made him even more upset. With the help of Mishima, who was secretly the mysterious person helping him train, Kakeru started to understand his brother's love and good intentions. When he read Suguru's diary, which had Suguru's hope of playing soccer with him, Kakeru decided he wouldn't avoid soccer anymore. Then, Kakeru chose to join Inashima High School, where Suguru's friend was a player and coach. After graduating from Kamakura Middle School, Kakeru and Mishima started at Inashima High and joined the Inashima Football Club. Kakeru was initially disappointed when he saw that the club wasn't very popular and felt let down by meeting Suguru's colleague, Araki. But seeing how excited and dedicated his new teammates were to becoming top players, Kakeru got motivated again. The team trained hard on the beach to get ready for a big match against the more popular club, Inashima SC. This match would decide which team would represent the school in the tournament. The following day, the big soccer match between Inashima FC and Inashima SC began. At first, Kakeru's team was doing great. They controlled the game with good passing and Kakeru playing as a striker. This made the other team feel pressured. But the other team didn't give up and started attacking Inashima FC's defense. They got close to scoring, but Kakeru helped by clearing a ball that the goalkeeper couldn't reach. Then, things started to go wrong for Kakeru's team. The other team got a chance when Oda made a perfect pass to his teammate. The other team's captain scored a goal after getting past Kakeru. The other team kept being aggressive, and Oda stole the ball from Kakeru and made another long pass. Takase from the other team headed the ball in, making the score 2-0. At halftime, Shinji, who had collided with Takase, was found to have a serious shoulder injury. Coach Iwaki decided to let him rest for the second half. With FC playing with only 10 players, everyone was worried. Fortunately, Kuta, Kakeru's best friend who had left the SC team, came to help Inashima FC. In the second half of the match, Coach Iwaki made some changes to the team's defense to stop Takase from the other team. This new plan worked really well, and Takase couldn't get past FC's defense. The FC players then made a quick attack from the left side, and even though Kakeru's first shot was blocked, he scored a goal on the rebound. Despite this, the other team scored again with a third goal from Oda, who made a fast counterattack after getting control of the ball. As FC's players began to feel frustrated, something exciting happened. With just 20 minutes left, Araki, a key player for FC who had been waiting to play, finally joined the game. His arrival made a big difference. Araki made an amazing play and scored a beautiful goal, bringing FC closer. But the FC team didn't stop there. In the last minutes of the match, Kakeru received a perfect pass from Araki and made a stunning kick to tie the game 3-3. Even though FC continued to attack hard during the extra time, they couldn't score again, and the match ended in a draw. After the match ended, Coach Iwaki suggested to Coach Kondo that they merge the two teams into one. Then, Iwaki asked Kondo to forget their rivalry and focus on making the Inashima Football Club better. Kondo agreed but said that Iwaki would need to be the coach for the new team. Even though the teams were combined, there were still arguments among the players from both sides. However, things got worse after a training camp meant to help them bond. Some players, like Oda and Sawamura, even stopped coming to practice. Realizing that a divided team wouldn't do well in the tournament, Coach Iwaki set up a practice match with former Inashima players. Even though the team was short on players, they managed to play well against their opponents. Watching the match made Oda and Sawamura understand how hard their teammates were working. Then, they decided to come back and join the team to get ready for the upcoming tournament. It turns out that Mishima, who everyone thought was just the manager of the Inashima team, is actually a famous soccer player known as the Little Witch. Mishima has been picked for the Japanese national team and is a key player in every game. For example, during a match against the United States, Mishima came in during the second half and helped the team win with her amazing skills. In the next game against Germany, where there was a top player named Mina, Mishima faced some challenges at first, but she managed to get back on track and play really well. Even though Mishima is a star player for the national team, she still takes her role as a manager seriously. She often balances her time between playing soccer and managing the team. All of Mishima's hard work is actually for Kakeru. She stays as manager to support and help Kakeru succeed. The following day, the Inashima team's first match in the Inter-High tournament was about to begin, and they were up against the Keisho team, which had talented players like Nakajima. But the Inashima players were not scared. In the first half, they played great defense and managed to score 2 goals with Hino and Araki leading the way, putting them ahead 2-0. Even though Nakajima scored a goal for Keisho, Coach Iwaki wasn't worried. He made a smart move by bringing in Kakeru, Takase, and Kuda in the second half. This decision turned out to be a great one. Kakeru received a pass from Araki and used his striker skills to score another goal, making the score 3-1. But Inashima wasn't done yet. Takase scored with a header after a nice cross from Kakeru, which increased their lead. By the end of the match, Inashima won their first game of the tournament with a decisive score of 4-1. In their second match of the tournament against Busho High School, Inashima's team had a tough time. The other team took the lead in the first half, and Kakeru, who kept missing chances, was struggling. He tried to use tricky moves he had learned from Mishima, but this made it easier for the other team to predict his actions. Even though things weren't going well, Kakeru didn't give up. Soon after, Coach Iwaki decided to swap Kakeru with Hino, and this change helped the team. At that time, Hino quickly scored to tie the game. By the end, Inashima won with a score of 3-1. It turned out that Kakeru was trying so hard to be a great striker because he wanted to make his older brother proud. He planned to keep using his special moves in the next match. Coach Iwaki still believed in Kakeru and told Mishima that he would keep playing Kakeru. Iwaki thought that Kakeru's strong will and determination would help him become a top striker in the end. After their second match, the Inashima team learned that their next opponent would be Tsujido Gakuen. Even though Tsujido Gakuen wasn't the top team, they managed to beat a strong team called OJPR, which made Inashima nervous. Shortly after, they started planning their strategy to take on Tsujido Gakuen. On game day, Inashima players didn't take Tsujido Gakuen seriously, thinking they were an easy team. But Mishima advised them not to underestimate their opponents, so they started to reconsider. Their concerns were proven right. In the first half, Inashima struggled as Tsujido Gakuen's tight defense stopped all their attacks. The opposing team created chances with throw-ins, and one powerful throw nearly scored a goal against Inashima. At that time, Tsujido Gakuen took advantage of the offside rule and scored a goal, taking the lead in the first half. They didn't stop there and quickly scored again, making it even harder for Inashima. The situation worsened when Hino was sent off for getting a second yellow card, leaving Inashima in a tough spot. Seeing how tough things were, Coach Iwaki had to make some changes for the second half. He switched goalkeepers, putting Lee in instead of Kurabayashi, and added Kuda and Kakeru to boost the team's attack. This move worked out great. Lee stopped all the throw-ins from the other team, and Kakeru began to play like Suguru, showing off his best skills after a clash with an opponent. At that time, Mishima and Araki were surprised by how much Kakeru's play resembled Suguru's. Soon after, Araki helped Kakeru focus again, and once he was back to his best, Kakeru worked well with Araki and helped his team catch up. The other team struggled to deal with Inashima's 10 players. They couldn't use their throw-in strategy effectively anymore, especially when Kim, who was good at long throws, got a yellow card for delaying the game. During the match, Makoto scored a goal after getting a perfect pass from Kakeru, making the score 2-2. At the end of the game, Inashima had another chance. With all the opposing players crowded in the defense area, Lee grabbed the ball and passed it to Kakeru, who was the only one rushing towards the other team's goal. There, Kakeru took the chance, got past the goalkeeper, and scored the winning goal. The game ended with Inashima on top. Meanwhile, Silva, who used to compete with Suguru in Europe, was amazed by how much Kakeru played like Suguru. He even went to challenge Kakeru to a one-on-one match. Although Kakeru struggled at first, he eventually used his best moves to win against Silva. In another place, Mishima and the Japanese Nadeshiko team were getting ready for a big game against the JWSL team. But just before the match, the coach announced he was sick and couldn't coach. So, he chose his assistant, Takeda, to take over as coach for this important game. And Takeda, the new coach for the Japanese Nadeshiko team, wasn't very effective. He let the players make their own decisions, which confused them. Even though the team was ahead at first thanks to Mai Murasaka's great play, they started to struggle because they weren't working well together. By the end of the first half, they were trailing by 1 goal. Then, things started to improve in the second half when Ishiki, the team captain, scored an amazing goal. She inspired her teammates, especially Mai, to cooperate better. Mai then scored a goal with a cool reverse kick. Thanks to their teamwork, the Japanese team won the match. The next morning, the Inashima team was getting ready for their big game against Shonen High School. Kakeru was nervous because Hibino, an old teammate he had injured before, was on the opposing team. Kakeru felt really guilty about the past, which was clear when they talked the night before the match. Soon after, the match between Inashima and Shonen High School kicked off, and Inashima started strong thanks to Araki's amazing skills. At that time, he almost scored a goal, but Hibino from Shonen made a great save. Shonen noticed how dangerous Araki was and started guarding him closely. Without Araki's usual impact, Inashima struggled to attack. Things got worse when Idu got injured after a tough tackle from Hibino. With Idu off the field, Coach Iwaki decided to bring in Kakeru, hoping he could turn things around. But Kakeru was still haunted by his past and hesitated when facing Hibino, missing a key chance. This shift changed how the game was going for both teams. During the match, Hibino managed to block Kakeru, and Shonen took advantage with a quick counterattack. They got a chance for a free kick after Horikawa fouled an Inashima player. After that, Hibino took the free kick, but it ended up hitting Kakeru right in the face. After Hibino hit Kakeru, it was like a switch flipped in Kakeru's mind. Suddenly, he started playing with more freedom, almost as if his older brother was guiding him on the field. Kakeru nearly scored a goal for Inashima, but by the end of the first half, neither team had scored. In the second half, the opposing coach changed his strategy. He put 5 defenders on the field to block Inashima's attacks and waited for chances to counterattack. This plan worked well, making it hard for Inashima to score. After Keiuji fouled Yamamoto, the other team got a free kick. Soon after, Hibino took the shot, and even though it hit Horikawa, Hibino quickly scored off the rebound. But Inashima didn't give up. Instead of getting discouraged, Inashima's game improved. Coach Iwaki's strategy helped them break through the opponent's defense. With Araki's skill and Kakeru's determination, they managed to turn the game around and take a 2-1 lead. In the last moments of the game, the other team got a chance to score with a free kick. But thanks to Kurabayashi's quick reflexes and Oda's perfect kick, Inashima's team managed to secure the win and move on to the semifinals. After the tough match against Shonan, Kakeru and Hibino's friendship started to improve. Kakeru no longer felt guilty, which had been holding him back. The two even shared a meaningful conversation at Kakeru's practice, showing how much their bond had grown. Meanwhile, another team, Kamakura, where Kakeru used to play in middle school, was dominating the tournament. They were expected to make it to the national tournament, and they showed their strength in the quarterfinals. And Takajo, a star player and member of the under-19 national team, scored a hat trick, leading Kamakura to a huge 7-0 victory. At that time, Coach Iwaki, who watched the game, knew they had to be cautious of Kamakura. But Iwaki reminded his players to stay focused on their next match against Yoingakuin. As the Inashima players prepared for the next game, they took some time to relax at a local festival. This break helped them unwind and get ready for what was to come. During the festival, Kakeru and Mishima shared a romantic moment, enjoying the beautiful fireworks together. The next day, the day of the semi-finals arrived, and the stadium was packed with excited fans cheering for both teams. Some key players from Kamakura even came to check out their possible opponents for the final, and Silva also showed up to watch Kakeru in action. At the same time, Kakeru's family was there too, giving him their full support. As the match began, Inashima's team started strong. Kakeru made an impressive move, dodging the defenders and crossing the ball to Takase. And Takase, in a perfect position, headed the ball into the net. The crowd went wild, but their cheers were cut short when the linesman ruled the goal offside. The opposing team had cleverly set an offside trap, with Akatsuka leading their defense. Seeing this, the opposing team began to show their teamwork, with Akatsuka not only defending but also organizing their attacks. The match heated up as both teams went back and forth with their attacks, making the first half intense. Then, the coach decided to switch things up by bringing Kakeru into the game, replacing Kakeru. This change brought a new energy to the team. Kakeru used his skills to get past Akatsuka and delivered a perfect pass to his teammate, who scored an amazing goal. Even though they were down by 1 point, the opposing team didn't lose hope and made the match even more exciting. After stopping an Inashima attack near the goal, Onamaru sprinted with the ball and took a powerful shot from a difficult angle. It was a spectacular goal, just like a famous player, Roberto Carlos, and it brought the score to a tie. But the opposing team wasn't done yet. Onamaru made another impressive move, this time from the left side of Inashima's defense. He sent a perfect cross to his teammate, who scored another goal right in front of Inashima's net. By halftime, Inashima was trailing. In the second half, Inashima began to dominate the game, determined to catch up. However, the opposing team's defense, led by Akatsuka, was strong, making it difficult for Inashima to score. Even as Inashima kept pressing, the opposing team took advantage of a quick counterattack and increased their lead. This goal frustrated Kakeru even more, and he seemed ready to give up. But just when things looked hopeless, it was as if Kakeru was inspired by the spirit of his older brother, Suguru. Suddenly, Kakeru played with incredible skill, easily getting past Akatsuka. Even though the opposing defenders tried their best, Kakeru managed to score a goal by slipping the ball between the legs of the opposing goalkeeper. Kakeru's goal lifted the spirits of all his teammates. They began to play better, creating chances for Kakeru to attack. When Kakeru got the ball again, he skillfully passed it to Araki, who was surrounded by defenders. Araki then hit a powerful kick, tying the score at 3-3. But just when Inashima's confidence was at its highest, something bad happened to Kakeru. During a crucial moment, when Inashima was making their final attack near the opponent's goal, Kakeru couldn't score and suddenly collapsed, unconscious on the field. His teammates panicked, and without Kakeru, the match continued into a penalty shootout. In the shootout, luck wasn't on Inashima's side. Araki missed a crucial shot, and the opposing team won, ending Inashima's dream of reaching the national tournament. Although Araki felt very guilty for letting his team down, his teammates didn't blame him. Even Kakeru, who only found out what happened after waking up, was more concerned about how Araki was feeling. Kakeru believes that this loss is just the beginning of a new journey for the Inashima team. On the other hand, the Japanese women's national team was going through a tough time. This became clear during a friendly match against the Russian team. Although they won, Mai struggled to work well with her teammates. This made Mishima worried. When Mishima tried to give her advice, Mai got frustrated and walked away. Feeling upset, Mai turned to Kakeru to vent her feelings, seeing him as her only source of comfort. When Mishima also approached Kakeru for advice, Mai realized how selfish she had been on the field. The next morning at Kakeru's house, exciting news was announced that Kakeru had been invited to train with the Japanese under-16 national team. He was chosen as one of the players for the training camp. Araki was also selected, making the Inashima team proud of their achievements. Although the training camp was challenging, as the coach would only choose 30 players for the squad, Kakeru showed his skills as a talented striker during the mini-games. His impressive performance earned him a spot as one of the 30 players, along with Araki and Hibino, to continue training with the team. During the training camp, Kakeru met some amazing players who had played with Suguru on the national team. Kakeru felt very honored to be part of this group. When the coach selected the players for a friendly match against the United States team the next day, Kakeru was chosen to be in the lineup. He was really proud to wear the same uniform as his older brother. In the match against the United States, the Japanese team struggled to get past the opponent's strong defense in the first half. But the coach wasn't disappointed and told the team not to underestimate their opponents. This motivated the players in the second half. The Japanese team started passing the ball smoothly and managed to take several shots on goal. They ended up winning with 3 goals. One from a tight angle by Sarah, another from a great team effort by Araki and Kazumaki, and a final impressive shot by Araki. However, Kakeru didn't perform as well as he hoped and couldn't contribute much to the team, which led to him not being selected for the U16 Asian Cup. Even though he was disappointed, Kakeru stayed strong and kept training to get better. The high school team also worked hard, holding training camps to improve their game strategies. When Inashima's team played a practice match against Coach Iwaki's friends, they won with a single goal from Araki in the first half, showing how much they had improved. However, it wasn't just the Inashima team that was getting better in the tournament. From their previous practice match, it was clear that the Sagami Gora team also showed impressive improvement, which made Coach Iwaki a bit worried. The next day, Inashima team's first match in the summer tournament finally began. In their game against the KC team, Inashima played really well. After just 15 minutes, they were already leading by 2 points, thanks to goals from Hino and Araki. When Araki was substituted with Kakeru, the team kept up the momentum, scoring 4 more goals, with Kakeru scoring 3 of them. In their second match against Atsukikita High School, the Inashima team once again proved their strength. Although they struggled to break through the opponent's defense at the start, and the first half ended in a 1-1 draw after Kakeru's goal was matched by an opponent. The game changed in the second half when Araki was brought in. Starting from the back line, Oda passed the ball to Kakeru on the right side. Even though Kakeru was tightly marked by 2 opponents, he managed to make a precise pass to Araki in the middle. With his skill, Araki dribbled past several defenders and gave a perfect pass back to Kakeru. Without missing the chance, Kakeru kicked the ball and scored, securing the victory for Inashima and sending them to the quarterfinals. In another match, Shonan High School lost to Sagami Gaura High School. This defeat meant that Inashima would face Sagami Gaura in the quarterfinals. The next morning, the Inashima team gathered to say goodbye to Araki, who was heading off to join the Japanese national team for the Under-16 Asian Cup. This meant that Inashima would have to play the next round without Araki. However, the coach had prepared the team well for the quarterfinals. Part of the preparation was a practice match against the Shonan team, who had already faced Sagami Gaura several times. The coach wanted his team to learn from Shonan's experience and get ready for the upcoming challenge. Finally, the big match began. Fans from both teams filled the stands, including the Shonan team, who had helped Inashima practice. As soon as the whistle blew for the first half, Inashima took the initiative to attack. Kakeru led the charge after receiving a pass from Makoto. Despite being tightly marked by the opponents, Kakeru managed to pass the ball to Kakeru. However, Kakeru was in an offside position, and the play was stopped. At that time, the opposing team did a great job using the offside trap, catching Inashima off guard with their quick moves. Not only that, but they also kept Inashima under constant pressure, taking multiple shots on their goal. At one point, Sugihide got the ball in front of Inashima's goal and took a powerful shot. Even though the goalkeeper tried to block it, the ball still went in. By halftime, the opposing team was in the lead. In the locker room, Inashima's players were feeling down because of how tough the first half was, and they started to worry about the second half. But when they thought about Araki's efforts in the Asian Cup and got some encouraging words from the coach, their spirits lifted. In the second half, the coach, who had figured out how to handle the opponent's quick transitions, decided to bring Kuda into the game. Using Kuda's speed, Inashima was able to distract the opposing team, creating an opening for Oda to send a long pass into the opponent's defense. Then, Kakeru seized the chance, dodging a defender and blasting the ball into the goal, bringing Inashima back to a tie. Seeing that their strategy was being figured out, the opposing team got even more aggressive in their attacks. They kept breaking through Inashima's defense, but thanks to Ri's amazing saves, the opposing team couldn't score. Then, when Ri stopped another attack, he quickly passed the ball to Makoto. Makoto didn't waste the chance and sent a pass to Oda, who scored after taking advantage of the rebound from Kakeru's shot. The score stayed 2-1 until the final whistle, and Inashima won, moving on to the tournament semifinals. The coaches and fans were overjoyed, celebrating Inashima's victory. That evening, the Inashima players gathered at Kakeru's house to watch the Asian Cup final. They were excited to see Araki playing and felt proud of his brilliant performance. At that moment, Kakeru and Mishima had a serious conversation, where they both promised to one day wear the same national team uniform. The anime ends with Inashima preparing for their semi-final match against Yoingakuen, the team that had beaten them before. The anime ends. The moral lesson from this anime is when life gives you a tricky offside trap, just kick it like you're aiming for the snack table at a party. Aim high and enjoy the ride.